What's up, guys? It's your boys Awoki back out with another Chris Watts video and with an exclusive interview. Well, I'm not interviewing them, but an exclusive interview slash jailhouse letter exposes killer dad Chris Watts whining about how his wife was a control freak who didn't pay enough attention to him. Wah. Well, we're going to read this from radaronline.com, but we're going to also watch that this case is not over with Michelle after dark as well, after we have read about those jailhouse letters. And this was just published on April 21st at 4:15. So this is very new, 2 days ago. With that being said, before we go any further, if you guys could do me a solid favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it. So when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you guys so much for the love and support that you guys do show on my channel every single day. I'm truly blessed to have all of you. And again, I can't wait to see what the future holds. But also go over to Michelle After Dark, give her some love, subscribe, comment, like, and share. And then also, again, I'm not taking credit for what this jailhouse letter states. I'm just putting it out there for you guys to hear. And if you guys want to read it, link is in the description. And so I don't know why I was doing this, but we're going to read it together right now. So let's take a look. Alrighty, so it says, exclusive jailhouse letter exposes killer dad Chris Watts' whining on how his wife was a control freak and who didn't pay enough attention to him. You know what you do if you have that problem? You speak with your spouse. You tell them how you feel. You don't commit murder. But going down here where we see the start of this letter, we see killer dad Chris Watts continues to blame everyone but himself for brutally murdering his wife and 2 girls. RadarOnline.com can reveal. In an exclusive jailhouse letter, I think people are literally either writing or buying these letters nowadays. Letters written by convicted killer, Watts takes particular aim at his deceased wife. I'm not saying what it says there, deceased wife. This man cannot take any accountability for his actions. Watts, now 39, is currently serving multiple life sentences for strangling his pregnant wife, Shanann, 34 at the time, smothering, or 34, their daughters, Bella and Celeste, and dumping their bodies at an oil field where he worked in August of 2018. But in the letter, he wrote to various friends, acquaintances, and God himself. Watts consistently argued that Shanann was a control freak who didn't pay enough attention to him. It's pretty much like, nah, I don't get enough attention. How about you initiate? How about you show attention to her? I mean, yeah, okay, she's on her phone. My fiance's on her phone. You know what you do? You give her kisses. You give her hugs. You give her flowers. You show that you care. It's not all about you. It's about together. It's a 50-50. It's not 10-90 or 90-10. It's 50-50. You help each other out. This guy was like, she was a control freak. It's pretty much him whining. Okay. Watts also claimed that Shanann drove him to have... Watts also claimed that Shanann drove him to have the affair with Mistress Nicole. Are you flippin' kidding me? Kessinger got her share of blame from Watts as well, thankfully. In letters, he slammed her as a harlot, an evil woman who tempted him with flattering speech and lust in her eyes and flesh and booty or butt stuff and 3 ways. Yeah, we've talked about that before. When it comes to self-evaluations, however, Watts considered himself still a good man. Wow. A source familiar with the case called his behavior disturbing. Yes, even more. Chris Watts' latest prison letters are masterclass in manipulation, self-pity, blame shifting. They said instead of taking full responsibility for the unthinkable crimes he committed, he cast himself as weak, misguided man led astray. What are you, a dog? Watts has since found religion behind bars, studying the Bible, and even self publishing a prayer book with another inmate in 2021. But our source said it's all for show, and that book has been redacted. I think Jennifer at Crafted Crime Podcast, I can't remember. I'll post the link in the description. She has mentioned why it was pulled. So go check her channel out. It's down below. Um, this twisted biblical framing isn't just objective, it is also deliberate attempt to rewrite history and absolve himself of guilt. He's pretty much probably trying to make it so that he feels comfortable in his own skin that he committed this crime. Pretty much. Despite Watts' attempt to portray himself as a righteous man corrupted by others, the insider said he's not fooling anyone. Well, apparently he is, because there are people that have Facebook forums that says Chris Watts is innocent. What? Chris Watts is not a victim. He is not a tragic figure, and he is certainly not a man of God. Again, we can't, when I say this, we can't, how do I say this? We can't, his relationship with God, I don't know why I'm not finding the words, but his relationship with God is with him and God. We can't say anything about that. That is between him and God. God is the one that will judge him when the time comes. So, the source blasted he is a calculating killer who years later still refuses to face the truth. That the only person responsible for his family's murders is him. I like to add a little bit in there that possibly NK was involved. Again, we can't say for 100% certainty if she was or not, but something she was involved. I don't know. Watts tried to manipulate others' opinions from the start. Just hours after his family was reported missing, the concerned patriarch appeared on several live interviews to voice his supposed grief over their disappearance when he knew that where they were. I'm adding my little 2 cents here. On camera, he never shed tears. The only tears that he shed were either for himself or for his mama. Playing the part of a loving dad and doting husband before eventually breaking down when confronted with police's evidence. After officials found footage of Chris dumping his family members' bodies into his truck, we never see it. We don't see it. I don't know why they say that there was found footage. We only see the little shadows. We never see him putting her back in the car or truck. He was questioned by investigators and eventually confesses to the murders. He said that on August 13th, 2018, he woke up angry and strangled Shanann. She didn't fight back. I highly doubt that. That woman either was caught off guard or I can't say he like bludgeoningly hit her because she didn't have any bruises, but he literally probably just went like this. Like he probably just attacked her right away and she couldn't. I guarantee this woman would have fought back if she knew this. And he buried her body in a shallow grave. The killer then drove his daughters, Bella and Celeste, to an oil field where he worked. He blanked them in the car and dumped their bodies in oil tanks. And yet he wants forgiveness. On November 6th, 2018, Watts pled guilty to 5 counts of first-degree murder as a part of a plea deal when the death penalty was removed from sentencing. He was given 5 life sentences without possibility of parole, so he's never getting out. 3 to be served consecutively after another, so again, he will never get out, and 2 to be served concurrently. He'll be dead before the first one is done. At Dodge Correctional Institute in Waupun, Wisconsin. And that looks like all of it. So, wow. Just the statement alone that I read right here. Watts has claimed that Shanann drove him to have an affair with Mistress Nicole. How dare you do that? And yet you call yourself a righteous man. Okay. Well, now we're going to watch Michelle After Dark. I just wanted to get into this little video that she's got here. It pretty much is titled, where do I have it here? Chris Watts, The Story Is Not Over. I definitely would love to watch this to see what she's got on there. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Michelle After Dark.
Raw drama in court as the cold-hearted killer who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters is sentenced. The father of slain Shanann Watts gave an emotional statement venting his anger and grief.
You heartless monster, you have no heart or feelings or love. Prison is too good for you. This is hard to say, but may God have mercy on your soul.
The man seated to my right.
I honestly hope he doesn't have mercy, because this man committed one of the most heinous crimes ever.
Smothered his daughters. Why? Imagine the horror in Bella's mind as her father took her last breaths away. Your Honor, understand very clearly, Bella fought back for her life. The frenulum, the connective tissue between her upper lip and her gum, had a centimeter and a half laceration. She bit her tongue multiple times before she died. She fought back for her life, as her father said.
Put your hands.
Man, I really wish I knew what he was thinking about when he was getting shackled up like that. And getting thrown in the cop car. His last moment of freedom. Chris Watts was subjected to solitary confinement in Weld County Jail between arrest and sentencing. So 23 hours a day, he saw brick.
My hands around my wife's neck. I did that. Same thing.
Did Shanann fight back at all?
He would later plead guilty to all 3 murders. Overnight, the Colorado DA's office releasing dozens of videos from the investigation. The Watts home being searched by police and canines. Surveillance video showing Watts loading items into his truck in the morning after the murder. Later, he's seen showing investigators where to find his family's bodies.
Stupid bush tree thing. Just think if that was not there, how much we would have been able to see.
Can you work it for me?
An open and shut case, right? No, not right. Something most definitely was not right. Let's look at what was wrong and to this day is baffling. From even when the first day that initially police searched, things were botched. Let's begin with some examples. But yet the people that believe that Chris Watts is innocent or hate Shanann, they think it's all completely over. That it was done completely right. I don't know what you guys are on. Look at this. Checking the stairs. Great. No boots. No gloves. He technically is contaminating the evidence with his oils on his hands. They were searching, poking, and potential evidence without gloves. People said that they saw some red here and there on the stairs, and yet he's touching it. Why aren't they putting those little triangle number 1s, number 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 2s, whatever? See, look. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Your turn signal's on. It's been on. I may have to turn in a hurry.
They glance over the truck, touching the back. The search of Chris' truck was no search at all, unless when they took it back to the garage. But they let Chris stay in the house overnight. That's the biggest thing. Couldn't they put a hold on him or something? But no, they let him stay in his house because it was a missing persons case. And yet he had tons of time to clean, had tons of time to talk to Nicole, watch probably some, gaming wouldn't have started by then, unless it was, yeah. But he got to enjoy a little bit of time by himself. I hope he was haunted. Some of the neighbors did mention that he had the lights all on that night, which leaves me to believe that he was scared inside his own home. Just think what he possibly heard inside the house or what is haunting him. I really hope it did.
Want to go in there and get the card?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go in the house.
He watched everything. Police plan a dog search to try and find a scent of the missing people. They ask Chris for items that would have had Shanann, Bella, and Cece's scent on it, or which aren't contaminated with his. But he watched it all.
Okay, you usually pick it up off the floor and put it in. Beds, have you touched their beds today? I made them. Okay. Do you pick up
What about hairbrushes, toothbrushes? Despite contamination of the scene due to not securing it on the 13th, they go ahead with the dog search of the house on the 14th. But they did alert here and there upstairs. I don't believe when I watched the footage before I made this video, they didn't really do anything in the bedroom where we believe that the actual crime had occurred. But the dogs, both of them, go ape crap downstairs in the basement. Some believe it's because the heat vent. The heat vent wouldn't have been on because it's normally 96 degrees around there. But it could have been the air conditioning that was circulating and possibly sending it down to the basement, up through the vents or whatever have you. Again, we can't know because did they really test that theory? I don't know. Sorry, guys.
Something's upsetting up here.
The dog was alerting. Notice the two barks at the regular space intervals. It is a trained response, not a dog's normal bark pattern. Therefore, why is the basement not forensically tested? You don't see those triangles marked anywhere. You don't see forensic crime scene tape go up. You don't see them going in there with those blue light. That one company, I can't remember. It was like Blumenol or something like that. I could be completely wrong. They offered to go in there to do some testing, whatever, and they said they declined it. They said no, don't worry about it. He confessed. We're good. Like what? Like they always say, trust but verify. Chris confessed to killing Shanann, but not his daughters. However, he disposed of their bodies. He was arrested. August 16th, when they go ahead and remove them. Recovery, which took hours. The police entered the house to remove items as evidence, but they put it in plastic bags. Plastic is a no-no. It can possibly contaminate. They were wearing gloves this time, thank the Lord. I still think they should be wearing booties, don't you think? Like those little... Yeah, they're mixing it all together. Again, I'm not a professional in criminology, but watching like real interviews and so forth and collection of evidence, it's just like, what? They have a partial... Hold on. A partial after this at midnight. Man, I am not on it today. Sorry, guys. These are plastic garbage bags that can alter or destroy potential evidence because it can sweat, it can breathe. If you put it in a paper bag, you don't have that potential destruction of evidence and so forth. After this, at midnight, the house is released and no longer considered a crime scene. They have a partial confession that have the bodies, so that's it, right?
An organized chaos.
This police officer thought it was wrong. The team of lawyers and so forth on Chris's side were there, and they were even like, there's nothing. This just seems like a normal house.
What's going on? So I just hope we didn't cause too much of an issue with your process. I'm sorry, what?
Police are called to a potential burglary at the house on investigation. Chris's defense team, where they're doing their own checks, they note the lack of evidence collected. But yet, the armchair detectives that, like myself and the 1,000 of the YouTubers that keep saying there was a lack of evidence collected, professionals said the same thing.
Did the trace recovery here? Who took the samples?
I don't know. I wasn't here. I was out in the out in the subdivision talking to people, so I don't have a clue who was in here or when or how long. Sorry.
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, all that stuff was done, and I wasn't even at work yet, so.
Because we don't see any signs from where samples were taken.
Okay.
Normally, we have a lot of those signs so that we know where we took anything, but we don't show any. It looks pristine.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Yeah, this isn't what a normal crime scene would be really classified as. It looks, by the looks of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Evidence collected was botched from day one. So it's good they got their man right. It's good that Chris pleaded guilty to all charges, right? No. Wrong. What kind of thinking is simply the hindsight bias at play? They knew none of that then, so let's continue. Imagine the possibility that Chris covered up someone else. That is a possibility. Even if someone confessed, prosecutors still have to prove or provide enough evidence for their guilt to be proven beyond reasonable doubt, which I do believe he was trying to do with his 35C. He's trying to mention that, I wasn't shown that I was guilty, and he's trying to play that card,
Am I in trouble because I deleted his text?
See, if she has to ask that, she's done something wrong.
You're not in trouble.
I didn't know what was going on at that point.
So
she claimed that she deleted Chris's text because she was disgusted and ashamed by him. Understandable, but is that the truth?
I know
there's a lot of girls that I know of that have deleted message or have kept the messages, because they want to show off how disgusting this person is to their friends.
Does that cause question?
Of course
Of
it
course
does.
it does. There is, but is it criminal? No. Is there concern that your
Report on the Mistress's deleted search from the Discovery files. All of it is red flagged. And some of it has been redacted.
hiding something? Potentially. That's why I want them, or I wouldn't be asking for them.
I know.
And
I'm trying to give you guys
been upfront with me about everything. I don't have.
I've seen messages like this that were in like the first 48 of people doing this exact same thing. Can cops trace text messages? Can cops find messages that have been deleted? They did time. It may be only like 3 to 5 years, but they did time. She got nothing.
I don't have a concern that you ever told Chris, I don't want you, go kill your wife, or get rid of your kids, or I don't want to date you if you have.
They gave her the benefit of the doubt, but what about when they got the results of her web searches? Didn't they at least interview her again? They didn't.
Kids, none of those things ever came out of your mouth. We've talked about that.
The girlfriend you referenced in court, can you give us a better idea of her role in the investigation, how forthcoming she was, and how she helped?
And for those that haven't listened to this yet, which there are, he literally says that Nicole Kessinger hampered the investigation by deleting her messages and causing problems.
She originally came forward and spoke to investigators on her own volition?
Wrong. She did come forward, but she didn't come at her own volition. She came to clear her name because she found out that Anna Darko had sent the emails to the CBI and investigators.
Prior to the time, unfortunately, that she came in and spoke with investigators, she had deleted all of the information off of her phone that had any connection between her and Chris Watts. That hampered the investigation. That hampered our ability to get that electronic digital connection between the two.
So you find it. So he's literally said that it hampered to see the connection between Chris and Nicole. And they're like, well, we can't find it. So we're good, right? No.
She was interviewed on multiple occasions. I believe that for the
worst interviews I've ever seen. I've seen kids getting grilled in high school for bringing a pocket knife to school. I've seen people getting interviewed at a grocery store harder than Nicole did in her interviews or interrogations, as she calls it.
For the most part, she was forthcoming in the course of those investigations.
For the most part?
We don't have any reason to believe that she had any prior knowledge or involvement in the death of Shanann, Bella, Celeste,
Did they look?
and Nico. I think that's the best way I can answer that. Like I said in the courtroom this morning.
So they let the mistress off the hook without further investigation because they got their man, right? Wrong.
And I think that the Rusick family said it very, very well as well. I don't think he will ever tell us. I don't think he will give an honest assessment.
He's going to keep giving us a little bit, hoping that we snag it like a fish hook. And yeah, we're all going to be subjected to believing anything that he tries to say or dissecting it and looking at. It's going to happen for years, unfortunately. That's why I think it's going to happen. And the Rusicks are right. He may never give us the 100%. He even said to us that he would take things, mostly the whole oxycodone where he got it from, but there's other things that he's going to take to his grave. He'll never mention it. And why? Because he's protecting someone or some people.
Of why he did what he did, how he did what he did. I intentionally called upon him to see if he would answer those questions in the courtroom this morning.
He didn't.
Both his mother and through their attorney, his father, said that they hope that he will be honest and come clean someday and give us an account of what happened, because I think, like I said this morning, those are the questions that will always haunt anyone who was involved in the investigation, and I don't think that there is ever going to be
Here lies the problem.
Satisfactory answer for anyone.
Too many questions and not enough answers. We got 1,000 questions and 2 answered. I might not be a little drastic, but is it?
Least of which is the Russo family.
And all this begs the question of its own: was there a cover-up? I honestly don't know. 1 year earlier, in 2017, 2 deadly explosions did occur at Anadarko's site in the first Firestone and Mead, which created negative press for the company and probably started the whole paper trail of them going down and having to sell the company. You guys have actually wanted me to look into just this. And it's funny, Nicole Kessinger Googled Chris and Shanann a year before. Arguably, Anadarko could not afford any more bad press, reputationally and financially. Especially at the time of the murders, a competition for a buyout was underway. So they didn't want to look bad. Sometimes it just makes you think. Oil is big money. A call to Rourke to shut down the investigation would not have gone unheard. So if technically district attorney shut down Anadarko to find out about this investigation, close down the house, close down the oil sites, close down anything that was with this murder, could have been bad for Anadarko.
One, I've taken on district attorney who also ultimately went on to become a congressman, and I beat him in a federal civil rights case, and took on the whole system here. So
Really?
my name is my name. I do it under my real name. You can Google me and find all the information you want. I don't hide. So I just learned about this because I have a friend who was working in Weld County at the time and told me about this case, and it was so much corruption, and I know he ended up quitting his job over it. I know he witnessed a meeting between the Congressman Ken Buck, who was previously the district attorney for Weld County, and he is also Michael Rourke's political mentor. And Michael Rourke sees himself as the future congressman and successor to Ken Buck. Ken Buck's very powerful. He's also the state chairman of the Republican Party in Colorado.
Okay.
I'm sure you know who he is.
Yes.
Anadarko, executive, also was at that meeting. This meeting was 2 days after Chris's original confession.
Interesting.
Rourke walks out of the meeting, walks into the office, calls a entire office meeting, and immediately tells them all, the case is over. I want none of you to say a single word about this case unless it goes through me or I approve it.
Wow.
Nothing. Everyone shut it down. It's over. Forget about everything you've seen. My friend was not happy.
Right.
So I've heard this stuff.
And that don't sound like a cover-up.
He's also told me other stuff. He's also
Why else would you want to silence something? To forget about it, to not talk about it?
told me stuff about everybody in the office knowing that Nicole was involved in some way, and that there was another affair that I'm not sure even Chris knows. Maybe you can answer it for me.
Okay.
Does Chris know that he was not the only person she was having an affair with?
No.
That
Apparently higher ups.
Because he was not the only person. There was another. He wasn't even the only person at Anadarko. There was another executive.
Damn. Although it doesn't excuse the sloppy initial evidence gathering, it would explain why the case was shut down without consideration of whether Chris had an accomplice or not. It also explains why the mistress had literally disappeared until just recently, a couple of months ago. So, or a month ago, sorry. However, if there was an accomplice, why did Chris take the rap? And why has he continued to keep quiet to this day? Because he's either, one, told that he will be, or that he was promised that they would protect him and so forth, and it didn't go the way he thought it was going to go. Remember, he wouldn't have known about this cover-up when he confessed. He probably doesn't even know still. Is there another cover-up? A cover-up before a cover-up, so to speak? There are several theories, and they continue to go on. Chris, committed all of the crimes. I accepted completely alone, no accomplices, or any angles to the story. If true, justice is served. Any possible cover-up in the DA's office is irrelevant to the outcome. But why did he say, don't speak about it unless it goes through me? Number 2, Chris originally confessed was true. He killed Shanann because she killed the girls. Lie. There's no evidence or anybody that would even, well, the haters, that would support that hypothesis. There is no evidence for this, though vital information could have been lost due to sloppy initial police work. She would have never touched her girls in any harmful way. She was addicted to her girls. She loved her girls. Chris' behavior immediately post-crime and hiding the girls' bodies were indicated this theory is false, and Chris would still be in prison for life for the murders. It will all come to light eventually. Chris committed the murders, but had an accomplice who is currently walking free. I think the third one. Chris is where he belongs, but due to his misplaced loyalty and the cover-up, someone else is free as a bird. Or free as a, what do they say? Free as a hot pocket. Chris did not commit the murders. I don't believe this one. I think he was promised something and was not, and he did not receive it. Even if he did not commit the murders, he would still be liable for the other charges. Perhaps not life without parole, but possibly of parole. Where he thought he could be in there for 25 years and get out. Could it be that Chris has taken the rap for more than one accomplice? I only think there's one. But was there an organized plot, a foil-up plan that went wrong, so was covered up before there was a cover-up of the cover-up? This story is not over.
Your life is not over. It is not over.
His mom is Cindy right. Is the story not over? Well, his life free is over, but I still think there's more to it. And again, you guys comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys thought about the letter beforehand. That is apparently fairly new. Him saying that, whining, complaining that she drove him to the murders. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to go over to Michelle After Dark and give her the love that she deserves. And we will see you guys in the next video. Please take care. Be safe. And as always, keep nerding on. And we will see you guys in the next video.